guys, I'm a dude playing Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. This is Mission 6, and this is my Nero and Dante Must Die difficulty video guide. This mission I have some gripes with, and I also have some praise to give it. This is the mission which I think the premise of the game was designed around Nero is proven. And I say that because this boss fight in particular was designed around Nero. The thing is that the boss fight here, the dude is stood behind the glass, and you have a bunch of flying swords, and you can grab the swords, and you can throw them at him. That's all it is. That's the fight in a nutshell. When I played this as Virgil, and all I did was I played like the first few missions of Son of Sparta initially as Virgil in order to get used to the character, and it was impossible. I found it so difficult, and I'm not going to lie to you, I used items, and that's against my own personal beliefs as a Devil May Cry player, but in the same light, it's not designed around Virgil or any of those sorts of characters. It was designed around Nero, and the fight there is just you get gang raped if you try and hit the guy in the glass, and you can't focus the swords because you're eventually going to fuck up and die, and that's just bad for those characters. Like, they don't have the logical answer that Nero does, and I hate that so much. I wish they changed it somehow. Yes, I'm fully prepared to accept that I probably just suck. Maybe I just didn't know how to do it, and maybe I should have practiced it more, but I just wanted to get past it. It wasn't fun, and I hated it so much. That's just my personal gripe with this level, but I want to compliment it also because it really used Nero's uniqueness, and they designed a fight around him that made the character feel unique. It really put the point of the character into perspective. So this is the dice game. The trick is to hit whenever the number is on top that you want. So for example, right here, I want a 2. So I'm going to study the dice and see when a 2 comes up. 2 comes after 4, 5, 1, 4, 2. And there should be a 2. There we go. And that'll take me forward. This is the fastest way of doing this. I don't know why, but when I play Mission 18, I can't seem to do it. And I have no idea if that's particular to Mission 18 or if I'm just dumb and I can't do it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I want is 6 here. So it's 2, 6. I might have been too late. No, it's just in time. Cool. I think that's a good design choice, so you can manipulate the dice like that, because to a new player, the dice will still do its job. And let's see if I can win this for once. Oh, I lost. Oh, I got it. Nice. That's kind of cool. To a new player, the dice will still do what it's intended to do, and that's good. Whereas for the veterans, they don't have to wander in circles forever doing nothing, because that's just frustrating. If you want to get an S rank on this, you do need to go into some of the combats, so keep that in mind. I wouldn't know exactly how many, and I wouldn't be able to tell you how to optimize it, because I've just found it far too frustrating to do myself. There we go. I don't have anything interesting to say regarding this part. It is just what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On Dante Must Die, you do have to get it exactly, and that's if you go over it. So if I'd rolled a 6 there, I would go to the end, like I'd go onto this white platform, and then I'd go back to this red one just here. So it does need to be exact. That's the only thing with this part. There we go. So now we're on to the boss fight, I think. Is the boss fight? Yeah. So the trick with this one is to just keep on throwing these stupid swords at the guy. Like, it's as simple as that. Use your lock-on change, which by default is clicking in your left thumbstick. I don't know what it is for PC because I play on a pad, which just makes life infinitely easier. From time to time, it's okay to kill a couple of the flying swords. And obviously, when that happens, you want to stay in the center platform, for obvious reasons. I didn't want to shoot that one. Fortunately for this area, they don't do the other kind of spin where they sort of trace you, so it's not too bad in that regard. Oh, I didn't get the Devil Trigger iframes, that's a shame. But yeah, you can do a level 1 charge shot to stun them as well, so if there's too many dashing at you and you feel like you can't dodge it all, then you can just do a level 1 charge shot and it will stun them for you. This is another boss fight that I should be better at and that I'm not, and that's just because I don't practice it. The other annoying thing is you do lock yourself into long animations quite commonly, so you will get hit by virtue of that, which is something I hate, but there you go. But I thought it was really cool. This is a cool boss fight. Damn it. I went off the edge somehow. Oh, I'm appalling. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to iframe that. I couldn't lock onto the guy I wanted in time, so I just used my iframes to not take damage. You probably don't want to use your Devil Trigger to regen too much. You probably want to use it more to get iframes, because you probably have more effective health that way, by virtue of just not taking damage. How did that shock me when I was stood up on the platform, man? That's horseshit. Correct. So I've got no idea what you would do against this boss as the other characters, and that's just because I've not tried it. Like, I've tried it once, obviously, to get past it. But what would you do? I guess with Virgil you could perfect judgment cut the guy repeatedly. And just try and, like, dodge all the flying swords and whatnot. I mean, you could use Spiral Swords to defend yourself. That is something that I have since learned, so there's definitely that to consider. Let's get rid of this guy. Okay, maybe not. Okay, I'm actually just gonna... Damn it, it wasn't enough. There we go, got him. So I like that boss fight as Nero. I think it's well designed. For the other characters, it's a fucking nightmare and it's frustrating as shit. But I think that's okay and it's acceptable. If you really can't deal with the swords, like you can't get your lock-ons and whatnot, you really need to learn to switch your lock on. It's not too bad. Like you saw there, I had a lot of Devil Trigger. Despite getting hit a bunch of times, I still had a decent amount of health, and I'm not very well practiced in that fight. So you do that a few times and you should be just fine. So here's where we start to fight a bunch of White Knights. It's not too bad, but this is our first encounter with this guy. And this guy in particular, you want to either focus him down or completely ignore him. And the reason for that is, when he's got some of his... other dudes around, he will command them. Can dodge that. So when he does that, you can stun him out of it with your charge shot. Once you take out his shield, you can grab him. But when there's a bunch of these guys, he's going to command them, and he'll often command them to do a suicide thing, or he'll make them summon a little ball. And that did not lock onto the guy I wanted. And then you can just kill a lot of them at once, and it's as simple as that. Alternatively, you ignore him and take out a subordinate, so it's just him left to deal with. Whereas if you sort of go in the middle, you're just being inefficient and suboptimal. I would say it's probably better to just ignore him and let him do his like little summony bally thing, or make the knights do their suicide move. But again, it's not too hard to deal with, and you should be just fine. If you really get caught out, you can just Devil Trigger. This guy. Boom. Pop him, pop him. Oh, I couldn't even grab him. Bitch, I wants to grab you. So after this, we'll be into the forest, and I can't wait to get to Dante. Like, okay, so, I'm a terrible Dante, right? I'm not going to lie to you. I suck as ass as Dante. I struggle with the character, and that's because I've not practiced him. And I still want to get to him because he's very fun. Like, I really enjoy playing Dante despite sucking at him. And that's just because he's a very engaging character. Like, you just have so many buttons and so many choices at any given moment. Granted, some of them you just won't use against some enemies because they're ineffective. But there's that. And also, when I'm recording, I can take the piss out of myself, which should be very fun. Oh, fuck off. There we go, get rid of this guy. Yeah, recording Dante is going to be very fun, and here's a funny story, actually. When I first played through this run, obviously, I didn't have any of the weapons one on. I went straight onto Dante Must Die difficulty, and it was difficult because I was there fighting all the bosses and all the enemies and stuff with just my basic sword and basic guns, so I didn't have any choices, and I was just like, you know, using drive more than anything else to just get rid of stuff quickly. That was my only real damaging tool, because I didn't have Gilgamesh for Echidna or anything like that. I didn't have Pandora, so I was very limited in my choices, and it was hilarious how much I suffered, actually. So that's why I abandoned all hope a few times, and I'm hoping when I get to Dante, I'll have more options and I'll be able to do more. I'll have more ways to play it out. Where do I go? Oh, I cross the bridge, don't I? But it should be enjoyable to see. You can see me fucking up my royal guards and shit. I do want to be good at Dante. Like, despite the fact I suck with him and I'm not prepared to put the time into him, I would like to be good at him. But it's just why I'm not incredible at the game in general. Like, I'm decent, but I'm not prepared to put the time in. And that's an important factor with these sorts of games. I love my Dota too much. Anyway, this is the end of the mission. It's not too hard a one. The boss fight, like I said, it's a bit gimmicky and it's a bit tricky if you can't like lock on like I can't. But you should have enough health to get through it, assuming you're maxed out. And then the fights, focus the White Knight guy first, or focus him last. That's my only real tip. And that's the rest of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.